Are you ready?
Are you ready?
For a podcast hosted by George T.
Who the hell are you?
I am the movie geek.
Who are you?
I am the movie geek.
You are such a geek.
Thank you.
And now, on with the show.
It's time!
It's showtime.
It's showtime.
Here we go. Welcome into the Movie Geek Podcast. My name is George T. And as always, I am here to bring you some news and reviews. And yes, it's going to be some Marvel news and a Marvel show review. Probably one of the better shows that they have put out. And it looks like Marvel is making a stride that they were hoping for with Phase 4 and 5. And they had to retool everything. And it looks like this is going to start to work for them in the future. I'm really excited about it, and I will tell you all about it. Brief news regarding this podcast. Coming up, I will be sporadically dropping episodes. So if you are a subscriber or a follower of mine, bear with me through the next 2 months, as I will be going to 6-day work weeks, and it's just going to be impossible to really do this. Hopefully by the end of December, I will have a new computer, and that means next year, for January, when we start our 1-year anniversary of this podcast. I can't believe I've been doing this for this long. But there will be a lot more videos because I'll have an actual laptop that will actually be able to do videos. That being said, let's get into the weekend box office. And Venom 3 made it another weekend at the box office, raking in an estimated $15.9 million. Heretic just opened. They finished in number 2. This movie actually looks pretty good. It's by A24, so it is definitely going to be something I will be looking forward to when it comes to streaming. The Best Christmas Pageant Ever finished 3rd last weekend, bringing in 10.7. Heretic brought in 11 million. Wild Robot dropped from 2 to 4. It made 6.6. Smile 2 went from 3rd to 5th at 5.1. Conclave 4.1. It was 4th. It is now 6th. And one other movie I want to talk about real quick. Actually, 2. Terrifier 3 is still in the top 10. It is number 7. It made 1.4. Beetlejuice made less than $1 million. And I actually did get to see that, so I may review it for you on an upcoming episode. So we'll see about that. Anyway, so let us get to Marvel news. And I know you're going to say, well, man, this guy just loves Marvel. Well, duh, I did 2 episodes about Marvel. But there is a lot of news, and I'm going to review probably one of its better TV shows. And they've had a lot of good TV shows. They've had a few clunkers. But overall, it looks like the direction that they're going in, and I mentioned this in the Marvel episodes themselves, I think they really have figured out how to finish Phase 5 and get into 6, and they've already started talking about 7 and 8 already, with just a quality over quantity mentality. I think they got too greedy, and I mentioned this in one of the episodes. I think they got too greedy when they got to Disney Plus. They figured they would pump out more content, and the movies suffered, but the shows were actually pretty good. And obviously the multiverse saga has not turned out well. The movies have not been received well. Then the whole Jonathan Majors thing with Kang. So now we're going to move on from Kang, and we are going to bring in Doctor Doom as a Vergence. So they talked about it at D23 in Brazil. So I'm going to go over everything that happened there and some other interesting news that followed D23. And then we'll get to Agatha in a minute. So Phase 5 has got a few things cooking here at the very end. Some really interesting stuff. They had dropped a trailer for What If Season 3. That comes out December 22nd, streaming on Disney+. Then we start into January of 2025. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man animated comic show. February 14th will be the first movie coming out, Captain America, Brave New World. We saw another trailer for that with more Red Hulk action. Then we go in back to Disney Plus with March 4th and Daredevil Born Again. I will have to probably go back and watch Daredevil series from Marvel. Maybe I'll enjoy it a little bit better. I'm not sure yet. Then May 5th will be Thunderbolts. And then Ironheart on Disney Plus for June 24th of next year. And then we get into Phase 6, which kicks off July 25th of next year with Fantastic Four and First Steps. We're getting leaks about that. Again, I've said it. I'm not sure if really I'm going to be interested in Fantastic Four. Because, again, they've rebooted it a bunch of times. I know Jonathan Quinn and Pedro Pascal are George and Ashley's favorites, so maybe they will enjoy it. Maybe it will be enjoyable. I'm not sure. August 6th, we go back to Disney Plus with Eyes of Wakanda. And I want to mention something really quickly, and I know this isn't in here or it's not yet been known, but after the releases of this at D23 Brazil, there is talks that Black Panther 3 will either be one of the untitled movies in Phase 6 or it will be in Phase 7. And another interesting point is Denzel Washington is pegged to be in Black Panther 3. It will be one of his absolute last films. Gladiator 2 is coming out next week, I believe, or the week. Yes, the week after. Sorry. I'm not thrilled about Gladiator 2. Reviews haven't been that good. I am a big Ridley Scott fan, so I will probably do a Ridley Scott episode and my Gladiator take because I loved Gladiator. Not sure about Gladiator 2, though. But Pedro Pascal and Joseph Quinn are in that one as well, so who knows? All right. So we go to October of next year, Marvel Zombies. I know Georgia is going to be excited for this, and so we'll see. December 2025, Wonder Man. They just dropped a trailer for this. Not sure how to take this show, so we'll see about this. May 1st of 2026, Avengers Doomsday. My birthday, definitely going to be watching that. July of 2026 is Spider-Man 4. Tom Holland is back in the MCU. Not associated with Sony in this one, so this is going to be interesting. Not a lot of details, but we do know Tom Holland is back. That is about all we know. May 7th of 2027, Avengers Secret War. Whew. that's going to be a big one because there's going to be so many people in this. Deadpool and Wolverine may be in it. There is also talks of X-Men. Not sure who's going to be in that X-Men thing. Moon Knight has also been mentioned for season 2. We're not sure when that's going to be, either in Phase 7 or Phase 6. But there's a lot of things going on. This is all tentative for Phase 6. There's so much time in between Doomsday, Spider-Man 4, and Secret Wars, obviously 2026-27. So there's a lot of shows that they haven't announced yet. So look for maybe Moon Knight. And then after Secret War, which I would have figured would have ended Phase 6, there is an untitled movie in 2028. Actually, 3 of them. One of those might actually be Blade. So Kevin Feige's been asked about Blade because they were trying to get him into either Phase 5 or 6. They're still committed to doing it, but there's been just so much going on with this project that it doesn't look anytime soon like this is going to happen. So, but they are committed to trying to get Blade in. It may be a series, it may be cameos in a movie, but the Blade movie itself is just having an awful time getting off the ground, and I'm not exactly sure if it's going to ever happen, but they are committed to it. Now, there is also talks about the X-Men having their own movies. Not sure which old or new X-Men will be in it, which way they want to go, because now they have the rights to Fox, so they can pick and choose whichever ones they want to. They could even do multiverses as well, but not intertwine them like they've been trying to do. So again, there's a lot there. There's just a lot of characters that need time to grow, or just kind of thrown in to movies to introduce them. Also, Deadpool and Wolverine definitely will be getting another movie. There was talks about that after the success of this one. Whether they do, maybe they might do, people are like, oh, should they do a Christmas special or something, or even a show. So not a lot of details yet, but Feige did say that they will be working as a team again. So we'll see about that. Maybe it will be something for Phase 6, because again, there's so much room in between, or it could be Phase 7, who knows. And we still don't even know how many more phases there are going to be after that. Just rumors and speculation. All right, so that is the Marvel news. Now, let us get to Agatha all along. So, this was storytelling at its finest. I honestly think this was one of Marvel's best shows. What If has been a great show. Season 1 was really good. Season 2 was a little out there. Who knows what Season 3 will look like. So, this show deals with some interesting characters. So, where WandaVision left off, Agatha, who was revealed as a witch, a dark witch, had her powers taken away from her by the Scarlet Witch. Once Wanda left Westview, the town went back to normal. So we pick up where Agatha was. She is a detective. She's rude. She's obnoxious. So she's a lot different than the perky neighbor next door who cracked jokes in WandaVision. She's just one of these people that you just don't want to face every day at work. It's just, I remember Ashley watching this with me, and she's like, I don't like her personality at all. And I'm like, well, let's just hold off. It's just the first show. So, but she is followed around by a woman. So we think maybe a superior or an ex-girlfriend who just kind of keeps showing up. Played by Aubrey Plaza, who is really good in this series. And I will reveal her actual identity. And I find it fascinating that we've waited this long to bring this character in. And I'll explain that afterwards. So, Catherine Hahn is amazing as Agatha. So the show starts with a teenager breaking into her home and taking something. She chases him down and, doesn't really... She's interrogating him about murder that took place. He has no idea what it is. He only went to take something of hers. He knows her actual identity as Agatha, but he talks at times and she does not understand what he is saying. It's kind of blurred out. And we'll get to that very soon. So she's trying to figure out who he is and whatnot. They take him downtown, and then she realizes that when Aubrey's character comes back, that she's being pulled in that direction to become Agatha again. But she does not have all her powers. So she is told that if she gets her powers back, that she can live out her prophecy. So, as a witch without a coven, she needs to find a coven. So she starts to enlist some local people that she knows are witches. And we bring in a few of these witches. So the teenager she is now, really curious about is played by Joe Locke. And then she starts to recruit Lily, played by Patti LuPone. Jennifer Kale, played by Shashar Zamata. Sorry, again, you know me in names. Alice, played by Ali On. Deborah Jo Ropa plays Miss Hart. So those are the Coven witches that she recruits. So they each have a secret power. So as Agatha is trying to figure out how to get her powers back, the teen mentions the road, Witch's Road. And she's like, how do you know about the Witch's Road? And again, he talks, but it's mumbled out. So again, she can't understand it. And the reason why will be revealed shortly. So she figures that, okay, he's got some powers. Let's recruit these others and let's go on the road. Because her ultimate goal, the Witch's Road, allows a witch, once completed, to have gained all her power back, or whatever they desire. The teen wants to go on the Witch's Road for his own reasons. Obviously, Agatha's is to take the power of the witches and, obviously become what she's been for centuries. So, as this is going on, she starts to learn of who was actually chasing her, and it is the Salem Seven. These are powerful witches and demons that have been wronged by Agatha in the past. So Agatha's got a very tough road ahead, as she is not only being hunted by Salem 7, but she's also haunted by Aubrey Plaza's Lady Death character. So this is why I find this very interesting. And I mention this because if you remember when I talked about Thanos in the Infinity Gauntlet, and that was a precursor for Phase 3, the Infinity Stones and whatnot, Lady Death, Thanos was infatuated with Lady Death. And he was trying to get her to love him. And that was his main objective, to go and get the stones. If he could wipe out half the universe, maybe she would fall in love with him. Well, we all know the story because I mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. He got the stones. He snapped half the world out of, the whole universe as well. And it didn't work. He got frustrated, left the gauntlet, and went and retired onto his farm. Again, similarity to what happened at the end of Infinity War, where he snapped his finger and went and retired. And then, of course, the story goes, Lady Death, left the gauntlet on his throne. Nebula took it and was trying to extract revenge by snapping her finger and trying to kill her dad and the rest of the universe, basically. But, so, we've waited all this time to bring back Lady Death, which was, and if I could ever ask Feige or anybody that worked with Marvel why they mentioned it at the end of the original Avengers in the cutscene, would be to court death, was one of his minions' sayings to Thanos. And the reaction was a smile. So now we've waited all this time to bring Lady Death in. So it's kind of an interesting thing. So why is Lady Death important in this series? Well, because as we go along, the teen finally gets revealed as Wanda's son, which is crazy to think about because, again, WandaVision, when she took the town hostage, she manifested her kids. And when Westfield was evolving from Wanda's vision, somehow, some way, one of her kids or I don't know, powers wound up in this teenager who was dying on the side of the road after his parents hit a tree in the forest after a car accident. So now, when he's not himself anymore, he is now Wanda's kid, Billy. And now his quest for the road is to find his brother, Tommy, because that is the only thing that he can think of. He is just wondering if he's alive or if he can find his mother. And again, he is Billy, not the teenager. Lady Death also knows that if Agatha does not finish the road, she will take Agatha for her time. She's been around for a long time, and Agatha has also given up a lot to sacrifice the time that she has had on this planet. So the show goes on, and we start to know more and more about why Agatha is basically haunted by everyone. She has wound up killing everyone in her covens along the way, but she also made the pact with the devil for her son. And it is tragic when you get to the end of the series and know what she sacrificed to live as long as she did. Because the killing of witches brought Lady Death to her door, and she had to make a sacrifice. And it wound up being her son. But we'll get to all that afterwards. So, they go along the road, they have to take on challenges. And each challenge kills off one of the witches, one by one. So, we go through this series, we find out that, obviously, Billy is looking for Tommy, and Agatha wants his powers. She's going to try and do anything to drain him of his powers and take back part of what she lost from Wanda. Because for some reason he is as strong, or just not as strong because he doesn't have the Darkhold, but he has powers just like his mother. So, again, this is all kind of weird because, again, she manifested all of this, and somehow, some way, Billy's aura or powers wound up in this teenager. So, does that mean Tommy's still alive? We don't know. So, as we go along, we're going to hope that he does. So, as these challenges every week get stranger and stranger, there's an 80s thing. There's song and dances. There's tarot reading, and there's so much in there. It's so good story-wise. But now we get to the end. I'm just going to skip through all the shows and whatnot. And we're left with Agatha, the teen, and Jennifer Kale. And why Jennifer is so important is because she's going to pop up again in some other series. So she survives the road by the teen helping her survive and get away from Agatha, because Agatha was going to try to take her powers. So Agatha is left to wonder what is left for her at this point, because the teen will not allow her to take anyone else's powers. And it brings up Lady Death. Lady Death comes for Agatha. And she says, you have to make a choice. It's either you or I take the powers of the teen. So he says, well, I'll sacrifice myself because I'm not even sure I should be alive. Because I wasn't alive until I wound up in this body. Maybe I should go. And Agatha was like, okay, go ahead. All throughout this show, she is so all about herself and making people feel bad and cracking jokes, and she's just like, yeah, all right, go ahead, kill yourself. Bye. I'll survive for a little bit longer, and maybe Lady Death will leave me alone for a little bit longer. But ultimately, as Lady Death is about to take the teen, Agatha does the right thing and sacrifices herself for the teenager, because she knows what she lost along the way, and she's lost so much. She's lost coven after coven after coven, and she's also lost a son. So episode 8, because I think this is, 9 episodes. So episode 8 has her being killed off by Lady Death. And then Lady Death disappears. The teenager also disappears out of the town of Westview. Also, Jennifer Kale survives and gets out of Westview. So, episode 9 is basically a recap of Agatha's life. But, lo lo and behold, now she's a ghost. And it looks like, from the way and so before I get to there. So we find out that the first coven that she was in was during Salem time of the witch trials. She winds up taking all of her coven witches' powers. And every coven that she made along the way, from the 1600s, 1700s, 18 and 19 and the current ones, she lured these witches in by taking their powers. But it was because she needed to be more powerful than Lady Death. Because eventually she knew that the only way she could defeat Death is to be as powerful after what Lady Death took from her, which was her son. So the beginning of that episode is she's running away from Lady Death. And she needs to make a choice. And Lady Death says, "How much time do you want?" And she's like, "As long as I can have." So, the kid starts to grow up. He starts to wonder why his mom keeps killing witches, and she can't tell him. And one night, they are laying down on the riverbed. He had to be maybe 7 or 8. Wakes up from a dream. Lady Death is there. Calls him over. And that is the last time we see the child. Agatha wakes up and realizes that he is gone for good. And now she's on a killing spree. And it's just, monotonous witch killing and taking of powers. And then, of course, eventually she runs into the Scarlet Witch and winds up being human again. So she can't beat Death. So that's why she becomes a Force ghost. It's like Star Wars, like saying, "Hey, Qui-Gon, you're coming back for Obi-Wan," or Obi-Wan coming back for Luke in Return of the Jedi. It's kind of weird. Still wisecracking as ever, but it looks like the way this ends, her and Billy, now because he's not teen anymore, he's Billy, are now on a quest to go and find Tommy, or her mother. Which brings us to Vision has a show coming out, but it didn't list on D23, and that's why I think we don't know every TV show. We only know the major points. So Vision is supposed to get his own show. Maybe this is where we see the teen, or Billy in this case, and Agatha again, and Wanda, because Wanda is coming back at some point, and they've been tight-lipped about where she's going to show up from. So there's a lot of speculation there. But if you are a Marvel fan, like I am, this is definitely a show and a step in the right direction for Marvel. This was storytelling at its finest, and that's why I'm looking forward to the next projects. If you noticed in my episodes, they have gone with quality over quantity. They've gone without going over the top with things. Like Captain America is going to go back to the roots of like Captain America Winter Soldier and all that. So it looks like it's going to have more of a grounded base. Thunderbolts. Again, ragtag bunch of non-Avengers or Avenger wannabes, as I think some person commented, is going to have, again, a storyline, a storytelling line. I don't know what Fantastic Four is going to look like. That will be more, I think, on the side of like the Thors and Marvel, Miss Marvel. But again, I don't know that for certain. So again, I'm hoping that will be okay. And of course, we know the two big ones on my birthday weekends in back-to-back years in 2026 and 27 with the Robert Downey Jr. Doom, and we'll see him again in Secret War. We're going to see so many people in Secret War. It's going to be just a massive collection of superheroes. And where Phase 7 goes, 8, 9, I don't know how many phases they're going to ever have. But they do want to continue doing this. And this is why Marvel is better than DC and will always be. There's just no question about it. All right, so that being said, I want to thank everyone for listening. And again, I will be dropping sporadic shows. I do have some shows being worked on. I'm trying to get video for Rhode Island Comic Con's, what happened that weekend with picture slideshows and whatnot. And obviously, I've got some other things going on. So please stay with me here. Follow, like, comment, share it with your friends. Just do whatever it is you guys do. And I am extremely thankful for all of your listening. And I will see you at the movies.
See you next time. Bye.
Waiting for you. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Hasta la vista, baby.
That's all, folks.